What's up, guys? Well, I got pretty much all the peripherals for my little HP 8200 Elite cheap gaming LAN rig that I'm going to be making here. Probably on Tuesday. I'm still waiting for the actual computer itself. But in the meantime, let's go over all of the parts that I got here. So for wireless, since it's an old HP, it doesn't have wireless. I went with this TDP-Link AC600 high gain wireless dual band adapter. This was $24 on Amazon. I'm trying to keep this thing as cheap as possible. Well, almost as cheap as possible. Obviously, I could have gotten a $9 keyboard and like a $9 mouse. But I wanted at least some halfway decent stuff. For a mouse pad, we went with the Razer Goliath Mobile Stealth Edition. Reason being is this is a lot thinner and smaller than your average. It's thinner. Yep, definitely thinner than your normal mouse pad, but should be easy to carry around. So there's that. For a mouse, we went with the Hi-Reli F300. This is the newer version. This one doesn't have the red and black braided cable. This one just has a black braided cable, and it also has 1,000 extra DPI. And it also looks like they changed the logo from some of the videos I was watching. But this thing's extraordinarily similar to a type of Razer mouse. I think that's what they copied it. I think it was the Death Adder. Don't hold me to that. That could be wrong. But that's why I got it. I figured it'd be very similar. But for this was $16. Oh yeah, and the mouse pad was $7.99. So $16, $24, and $7.99. So last thing we got here is the Mechanical Eagle Z77 multicolor keyboard. I was thinking about getting the RGB version because I have the RGB mouse here, but I figured I'm trying to keep this thing cheap, so one RGB mouse is already enough for something like this. So anyway, let's unbox these and take a closer look. Alright, we'll start with the more boring stuff first. So the TDP-Link 600 comes with a little driver CD, technical support, and some installation guide, none of which I'm going to use. Then we've got the actual unit itself here. Pretty dang small, but should be. And then there's a extra little cord under there if you want to make it longer and not just plug it right into your laptop or PC. Anyway though, that pretty much does it for the TDP-Link. So let's move on to the next item. Alright, and here's the Goliath Mobile Stealth Edition mouse pad. Has a nice smooth texture to it, but it's not. It still has some, feels kind of like felt. So it's not like those super smooth plasticky mouse pads. We got a little embroiderment of the Razer logo right there. Now you can feel it and stuff, but not a huge deal. I mean, just keep in mind that if you get your mouse over there, it might mess up the tracking a little bit, but probably won't be a problem for me. But anyway, that pretty much does it for the mouse pad. I mean, you can see it's thinner than normal. Rolls right up, super portable. So, that about does it for the mouse pad. On to the next step. Alright, and here's the Hi-Reli F300 mouse. It comes with a bunch of instructions on how to use it and what everything does. Even how big the mouse is and whatnot. It also has quite a bunch of, I don't normally show this stuff, but it has a bunch of stuff saying, thank you for choosing them. I even had a little, this was at the very top, probably to prevent the top of the mouse from getting scratched. And it also says, enjoy what I have, and then thanks again inside the box. Anyway though, on to the start of the unboxing thing here. The mouse itself. It's got a nice braided cable. Like I said, it's no longer the red and black one because this is the new model. But yeah, these feel really quite quality switches. I watched a video and they actually used some pretty nice switches in here. They didn't just spend all their money in the RGB like I originally thought when I started watching YouTube videos about this mouse. But yeah, feels really nice in hand. I'm more of a palm kind of player, so this will work perfectly for me. Yeah, all the keys and stuff sound really nice, feel really quality. These two side buttons actually feel nicer than my Zowie mouse. My Zowie mouses, they feel really, really loose and mushy. It's one of the only things I hate about that mouse. So this thing's actually pretty nice. It's just an optical mouse though. This is a $16 mouse, so don't expect it to compete with a $60 to $100 mouse. It's not gonna happen, but honestly, from the reviews, I would say that that thing's at least as good as a $30 mouse, at least. So if you're looking for a really nice mouse, I highly recommend this one so far. From what I've seen in the reviews, I haven't actually tested it out myself yet because I don't have my computer yet. Alright, anyway, let's move on to the last thing, the keyboard. Alright, and last is the, I'm just going to call it the Z77 Mechanical Eagle. Because I can't remember the exact way they had it on the internet, but let's see, it comes with a little guide that probably tells you what it is and how everything works in very broken English. Before I start talking about the keyboard, they also give you a key puller and a switch puller, because they give you a bunch of these extra switches, which is nice. So if any of them die, you can fix them. I mean, I don't know if that means these switches suck and die quickly, or if they're just being cool and being like, hey, in the event that something happens, we got you covered. Anyway, though, it's a pretty nice looking keyboard for 35 bucks. Definitely loud, but these keys are supposed to mimic an MX Blue, so you'd expect that out of a Blue. But I love that. I like my speed switches on my Corsair, but I also really like Blues. I like both of them. Anyway, though, it has a nice aluminum or some kind of metal for a back here. Only two screws you can see are those two, which I honestly think add to the look of the keyboard personally, but that's just my personal preference. You got a scroll lock light and a caps lock light. It does not have a numero key, so it just doesn't have one, which I thought was good, so I could make it a smaller keyboard. Here's their little logo up here. Mechanical Eagle's logo. This keyboard is water resistant and dust resistant, so it can take, you know, some dust and a quick splash from a drink or something, but I wouldn't go submerging the thing, you know, in a sink or something and then try and use it or something. Could easily probably just run it under the sink to clean it though, but don't hold me to that. I just use, you know, air. But anyway, it has Otemu switches, I believe. It also has anti-ghosting and rollover. This is not the RGB version, as I said earlier. I just got the multicolor version, so unfortunately each row just has a different color. The RGB version was like 45 bucks. I just didn't feel like spending an extra 10 bucks. Figured the mouse was enough RGB for such a cheap build. But yeah, that's pretty much about it for now. So once I get my computer on Tuesday, I'll conclude this video. Luckily, you guys won't have to wait through the magic of editing. Alright, well, before we take a look at the computer, here's the monitor I'm going to be using. It's just a 1080p Asus monitor I found for like 89 bucks on eBay. Even comes with everything. It's a refurb, but I've had good luck with refurbs, so I really don't have a problem with buying them like a lot of people. But it comes with power cord, 3.5mm headphone jack. We have, let's see, that one's VGA, and then the DVI. The only thing it doesn't come with is an HDMI, but I have a bunch of those lying around. Comes with the instructions too, whoever reads those. But it's 21.5 inches, 1080p. It's I don't think it's IPS. I think it's a TFC or TFT, display. So it's probably not going to be the best, but for just going to friends' houses and whatnot and stuff should be more than enough. I mainly just wanted something cheap that had built-in speakers. That's about it, because I didn't want to lug speakers around with all this too. I already know that these speakers are going to sound like absolute crap, but still better than lugging them around. I'll either do that or bring some headphones along. Either use those or headphones. That's the pretty much plan. Anyway, though, there's nothing really more to say about this monitor. Here's where all the whatchamacallit buttons are for power and menu and all that stuff. And other than that, it just has a little logo here, has a round base. It only goes up and down, and they're only you can only move the monitor like this. It doesn't go, up and down at all. Anyway, though, let's move on to the star of the show, the HP Elite 8200. Alright, so here it is. The HP Elite, or technically HP Compact. I forgot those guys merged way back. But it's an HP Elite 8200. It should have a Core i5 2400, a 250 gig hard drive. It's got a DVD burner or whatever, don't really care. Let's see, in the front it's got 4 USB 2.0. It's got a headphone, and then it's actually got one of those cool headphone microphone combo ports, so that's kind of cool. And then of course, that's about it. Power button. I almost didn't even see that there. Hard drive, power and hard drive activity. This is ventilation actually right here, I think. I think that's where the only fan is in that, if I remember from watching the YouTube videos. It actually has all of its feet still, so I don't even have to fix anything there. Alright, I'm just going to shut this off for a second, open the case up so we can see what's inside. Well, actually, let's see what's on the back first. Well, that's actually a surprise. It actually has a GPU of some sort installed already. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, we've got a bunch more USB 2.0 ports. I don't think any of those are 3.0. I could be wrong. I'll have to look. It also has a display port right there. Then a VGA, some I/O, PS2 mouse, audio, power. And then it has another fan for the power supply and exhaust. Kind of does a double in one there. Anyway, though, let's open this up. I'm curious to see what's inside now that I know it has a GPU of some sort. So we got the computer open. First, let's see what kind of power supply we got. So we got a 240. Oh, cool. It's only a 120, but they gave me an SSD instead. Hell yeah, I'll take that. I was gonna rip the 250 gig out and put a 256 gig SSD in there, but now I'm not even gonna bother. A 120, I'll just add my 640. Do I have a... Heck yeah! There's another SATA power in there. And yep, there's 2 more SATA open. Heck, I can even add my 640 in here, no problem. Don't even have to do what I thought I was gonna have to do. I thought there was only 2 things available and I was gonna have to get rid of the DVD drive, which I would have been okay with, but there's even a spot underneath it for a hard drive. So that's sweet. So we got 4 RAM slots available. It's got 4 gigs of RAM in there. I'm gonna upgrade that to 8. Man, it's got a lot of headers for fans and stuff too. But yeah, what is this though? I wasn't expecting a GPU either. Huh. No idea. No idea. I'm looking kind of through the viewfinder trying to find a name somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. Is it underneath ATI 102 something? I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to install, or I'm gonna have to turn that on and see what that is. Anyway though, let's get this booted up and see if it actually works. Should have Windows Pro already, or 10 Pro on it. So let's turn it on and see if it works. Alright, well, it seems to have turned on. I already just installed the 750 Ti. I kind of stopped caring about whatever the ATI or AMD card was. But plugged up my wireless keyboard and mouse, and let's see. I own it. Alright. Well, let me finish doing this and then we'll see what all this thing has in it. Because it's got different stuff than I was expecting. Alright, so the thing turned on, no problem. We've got the 750 Ti in there. It does indeed have the 2400 i5 like I wanted. And it's got 4 gigs of memory, but I've got 8 gigs to put in there, so that's all good. Here's the temps so far. And it does have a Intel SSD, 120 gig, which is okay with me. Much rather have that than a 240 gig normal hard drive. And this thing is really quiet. I mean, you might hear a whirling in the background, but that's just my window fan in. It gets hot as hell in my room without the window fan. But I'm going to finish installing updates and stuff on this thing, and then we'll do a couple quick little benchmarks real quick, just for fun. Like some 3D Mark or something, and a Geekbench, and maybe a Cinebench or something. Alright, well, got the RAM and the 640 gig hard drive installed, no problem. It's only running at 1333, but I haven't gone and looked to see if I can change that or not. That might be all it can run at, but I mean, it's not going to make that much of a difference on a i5 2400, whether it's at 16 or 1333, I don't think. But I'll go look and see if I can change it anyway, but if I can't, not a huge deal. And there's the 750 Ti again. I haven't overclocked it or anything yet. Letting it do its own thing for now. But let's go run a few benchmarks and see what it gets. Alright, so here's what we get. Not a very impressive score, but everything is stock. I mean, I don't think I can overclock the CPU at all, but we can definitely overclock the GPU a little bit. Hopefully improve that a little. I'd like to get at least a score of 1000. But all this thing's really meant to do is play Blizzard games like Diablo 3, StarCraft 2, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, maybe some PUBG. But anyway, let's move on to another benchmark. Alright, here's what it got in superposition. Again, not very impressive at all, but wasn't expecting it to be. GPU still stock too, and it seems to be having a lot of high frame times. Like, frame times are up at like 40 to 50 milliseconds, and that just seems kind of off. I could be wrong, but that seems to be wrong. I wonder if I plugged the card into the wrong PCI slot in there. There was a white and black one, and I figured the black one was the one that was the more powerful of the PCI slots in there, but maybe I was wrong. Anyway, I'm just going to keep doing benchmarks, and I'll figure that out later. Otherwise, if I mess with that now, none of them will be consistent. So, here's what it got in 3D Mark, Firestrike. Alright, 2 more tests, and then we'll be done. Alright, it's just finishing up a Cinebench run on the GPU portion right now. Okay, so here's what we got. Not too shabby, considering this computer was $100 with free Windows 10 Pro. I mean, the GPU still costed an extra 70 bucks with shipping, but not bad for a $170 computer. Well, plus you have to add 20 for the shipping too, so it's not quite 170, but it's not a bad price so far. I'm pretty happy with the performance. All right, one more test and then that's it. So last thing I wanted to run was user benchmark, and here's the scores that it got. And then if we go down here, The only thing not performing that great was the SSD, but it's probably being held back by something, I don't know. Still fast enough and speedy enough in Windows, so I don't really care. So, yeah. Well, that'll about do it for this video. I'm definitely going to do some gameplay videos with this 750 Ti for sure, but I haven't installed any games yet, so can't do that. But what I'm going to do real quick before I go is I'm going to actually, instead of using this crappy wireless keyboard and mouse that I've got hooked up right now, I'm going to hook up, it's actually the real peripherals I'm going to be using with it. Oh yeah, I forgot, I didn't even show what the temps were after it was done with all the tests. So, there's what the processor got up to. And the megahertz and all that. There's what the GPU got up to. And alright. And then here's the peripherals I'm going to be using. Here's that, what was it, the Z77, the Mechanical Eagle keyboard. And then we've got the Hyrule mouse, which has really, really impressive RGB, I have to say, for being $17. And it actually feels pretty nice. And then the mousepad is also pretty awesome. I mean, it feels a little bumpy and lumpy, and it's not tracking the like 100% of the time because it's on a lumpy carpet sometimes. But when it tracks, when it's on a flatter part of the carpet where my hand hasn't been, it tracks really nice. Still not as good as a real good gaming mouse, but freaking awesome for what I paid, $17. And it'll be good enough for all the games I'm going to be playing. So anyway, that's about it. So till the next video, peace out guys.